situation like that, how important is it then to gain some measure of possession?
Yeah, always important, right? You can't, much like pressing, right? You can't kind of absorb that those waves of attack for very long. You need to get spells where you can take some breaks and make them do the dirty work. And for us, that just seemed like it never came. Maybe we could have changed a little bit in terms of our structure, because essentially they were man for man with the front five. So I felt like there were times where we just couldn't seem to get our touches right as well. And it's part of being on the road, right? This league is always tough.
The middle was awfully clogged up. I mean, so how do you do that technically going? Do you have to go wide a little bit more, and people have to run into space to break that up, or do you have to go wider? Because the middle is clogged. If I'm
Yeah,
right
I
to say.
mean, you definitely need to make runs in behind to create a little bit more space, right? And I think that falls on myself and Jordan a lot more. I felt like we also could have been lower and wider with our fullbacks to drag their wingbacks a little bit. Their press is based on their wingbacks, right? When you play in a five in the back, their wingbacks are the ones that are doing the dirty work. And so if we have to make them run 50 more yards, instead of 30, that's a lot of running for them, and that can create a little bit more space for us.
With that in mind, was any of it surprising? Did you feel like they did anything at all that might have just taken you guys by surprise because of the way they pressed?
No, I mean we were ready, tactically. We felt that we were in a good position going into the game, and it was just the intensity in which they pressed that kind of caught us off guard, right? I think they came into this game understanding what we did in the first two games, and they brought it, right, being at home, kind of like how we did the first two games. But in the end, right, we need to make those tactical adjustments during the run of game, during the run of play, when we see that developing and happening. So, they're a good team, and they're going to do well throughout the rest of the year.
And Brian talked about being more direct. Is that difficult for you guys to kind of make that switch, that change to being a more direct team when something like that occurs?
Well, on the road, I mean, you're going to have to be more direct, right? There's going to be times where you're under pressure or teams feel more confident pressing up higher up the field. And with Jordan and my strengths are getting in behind. We have no problem being more direct, but we just all have to be on the same page when we do so, right? Like when the goal happens, we're trying to play out of the back, right? But if we play direct, maybe that doesn't happen. But at the same time, you need to absorb some of that pressure with trying to keep the ball. So that's why we elected to play.
So, how do you plan on bouncing back after the tough result in Cincinnati?
Yeah, first and foremost, the intensity that Cincinnati brought to us, we need to bring it to LAFC. That's really important. They've played 4 games, or they're going to be playing 4 games in, about, I think, 14 days or something like that. And they have a lot of miles under their legs so early in the season. We kind of felt that last year, and so intensity's the starting point for us. And they're a team that doesn't want to sit in a low block for too long. So if we can make them defend a little bit more, then I think we'll be in a good spot.
After starting out with 2 wins at home, is the LAFC match a big test for the mentality of the group after the loss over the weekend?
Yeah, for sure. It's another opportunity to send a statement out to the rest of the league, to ourselves, that we can compete with the best on a weekly basis. I feel like Cincinnati is going to be up there in the standings, come July, August, and LAFC will be too. And so this is another opportunity for us to show that we belong up there just as much as they do.
How much, if at all, does the loss or the struggles that you had against Cincinnati reflect or mirror any of the losses that you had on the road last season?
Yeah, it's difficult to lose like that, right? Because you feel like you didn't give up too much, although we were under it pressure-wise. we didn't feel like we were going to concede 2-3 goals, right? And we felt like we were in the game, and we could have been cleaner for sure, and we didn't have our sharpest game, but in the end you felt like you could have gotten a result, and that was a lot like last year, right? You lose, I don't know how many games, 1-0 on the road, and it becomes a difficult year because you can't collect those points. But I think that was just a one game thing. We're gonna go through spells where we're good and bad, which is part of the sport. But how can you get those points when you're not at your best? And I think that's going to be really important this year.
I know you want to be in the CCL tournament, but is there a benefit to this season to not having those games, to be able to focus on one opponent a week for, like, I guess, the opening couple months?
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the body, right? And LAFC is dealing with a lot of travel right now and a lot of games, and trying to compete in the league as well. So it's good that you can just focus on a game a week, but at the same time you want to compete for the best trophies, right? But for us, it's about how can we get back there and put ourselves in a position to play against the very best of our region.
Is this a derby? I mean, does it feel like it? I mean, I feel like you guys have had a big rivalry. Does this feel like a derby coming against the LAFC?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that it kind of started when we played them in the playoffs, I believe in 2019. That added pressure of us two just always competing for something, and wanting to be the favorites in the West. It's all part of the game, and hopefully it continues to grow.